Hello everyone, Tish here and welcome back to Auto Social UK. Now today's video, it really is an important one because this is not just a review of the all-new Nissan LEAF, this is the return of one of the most significant electric cars of the modern era. And it's entering a brand new chapter at exactly the right moment for electric vehicles in the UK. The Nissan LEAF is the car that really helped bring electric vehicles right into the mainstream. And now, in its third generation, it's back with more range, more technology, and a completely new platform. And a renewed focus on being built right here in Britain. This new LEAF is now in production at Nissan's Sunderland plant, which is where I am today, following a £450 million investment into the UK manufacturing and wider supply chain. But while that's an important part of today's story, this video is very much going to be about the car itself, how it fits into the EV market right now, and whether the new LEAF still makes sense in 2026. So if that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content, then you're in the right place. And as you see, I am wearing a high vis, and that is because I really am getting an exclusive drive of the new Nissan LEAF. I made just a very small complaint to Nissan that they missed me off the list when it comes to the drives in Copenhagen. So I've got the special treatment of being able to look around the factory and their new upscaled production ready for the new generation of Nissan LEAF. And I'm also getting to test drive it in the UK in a right-hand drive car. So if you want to see everything I think about the new Nissan LEAF, then please keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content, then you're in the right place. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Why don't we have a little bit of a history lesson, however, about the Nissan LEAF? The story of the Nissan LEAF begins in 2010, when Nissan made a bold £420 million investment to create the world's first mass-market electric car, alongside Europe's first battery plant built specifically to power it. At a time when EVs were seen as experimental, Nissan committed to making electric driving accessible. That vision became a reality in 2013, when the first fully electric Nissan LEAF rolled off the production line in Sunderland, built in the UK, and by 2015, the plant had already produced its 50,000th LEAF, proving that electric cars weren't just the future, they were happening now. Momentum continued to build through the following years. In 2016, Sunderland strengthens its stability credentials by installing 19,000 solar panels alongside 10 wind turbines. And in 2017, the second generation LEAF arrived, with more range and technology, helping to push EVs further into the mainstream. In 2021, Nissan launched its EV360 vision, a long-term plan to bring electric vehicle production, battery manufacturing and renewable energy together in one integrated ecosystem, with Sunderland at its heart. That vision took another step forward in 2023, when the plant's solar farm doubled to 40,000 panels, with renewables now providing around a fifth of the site's electricity. And by 2025, electric trucks had also joined the supply chain. Today, Sunderland has transformed once again for the all-new Nissan LEAF. State-of-the-art robots now craft vehicles with incredible precision. A new battery marriage system connects power to performance, and major upgrades prepare the plant for the next generation of EVs, supported by a new gigafactory ready for production. After 15 years of EV heritage, 6,000 highly skilled team members here in Sunderland have built more than a third of the 700,000 LEAFs sold worldwide. Cars that together have covered over 28 billion kilometres of emission-free driving. This new LEAF is simply the next chapter in a story that began more than a decade ago. So this car doesn't just have history, it's really helped to shape the entire EV market as we know it today. Now, before we move on, it's really important to quickly clarify one point around UK production. Historically, Sunderland-built LEAFs have used a mix of UK and Japanese battery supply. That has always been the case with previous generations. The difference, however, for this new LEAF is that Nissan is now scaling up UK battery production right next door, with the long-term goal of fully UK-sourced batteries for the UK-built cars. That's part of Nissan's wider EV30 plan, and it's a big step forward for domestic EV manufacturing. But for now, let's turn our attention back to the car itself. Globally, the all-new Nissan LEAF is offered with two battery options, a 52 kWh version and a larger 75 kWh battery. The smaller battery delivers a WLTP range of over 270 miles, while the 75 kWh version has a headline figure of up to 385 miles. In the UK, however, the focus at launch is firmly on the larger battery, and there is currently no official confirmation if the smaller battery will be offered here. That means UK buyers are effectively getting the long-range LEAF as standard, which helps to justify the positioning. But it also removes a potentially more affordable entry point. Power output tops out at 160 kilowatts, with 0 to 62 miles per hour taking as little as 7.6 seconds. Efficiency sits around the 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, and rapid charging is supported at up to 150 kilowatts, which is competitive for the class even if it isn't class leading. In the UK, pricing for the new Nissan LEAF starts from £32,249 for the Engage, rising to £33,149 for the Engage Plus, £34,249 for the Advance, and £36,249 for the range-topping Evolve. On the face of it, those prices look very appealing for a long-range family EV, but they are currently including the full £3,750 electric vehicle grant. Take that grant away and the LEAF suddenly looks quite a few £1,000s more expensive and much closer to some very strong rivals. So the real question becomes, grant or no grant, does the new Nissan LEAF still feel like good value for money? Now, I do understand I'm a little bit late to the party when it comes to the Nissan LEAF. Many people have already looked around this car and they've explored it, but this is the first time that I'm actually seeing it. And I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing because I have no preconceptions of what I think about this car. I'll be honest, I was never a massive fan of the first generation Nissan LEAF. Owners absolutely loved it, but for me personally, I had no real connection with it, and that car was really starting to look outdated. This, however, has just moved it into a new generation. It looks much sleeker, but still looks really approachable. I love the light bar around the front. You have this light bar which blends into the daytime running lights with these staggered O lights, and then the illuminated Nissan badge. But one of my favourite little features that you may not notice at first is the little leaf, which is just etched into this black bar here. It feels a little bit special. And this car does just genuinely look a lot better than it did. Finished in this teal colour, I think it really looks very striking. But then you have the contrasting wheel arches, which are finished in black, but they are still plastic, which actually I think adds an element of practicality. The alloy wheels are also very attractive. You have this design which is aero efficient, but also still looks super smart. And talking about aero efficient, that is something which Nissan has worked super hard on. That's how they're able to achieve those real top figures. This car has one really competitive drag coefficient figure, which I'll put on the screen because I may have forgotten it. But it looks striking with the contrasting black roof and the black door mirrors, and then you have the pop-out door handles. And then moving around the back, this is possibly where this car has had the best increase in style. The rear of the previous generation car was not particularly nice, but this really gives me those retro Japanese feelings. You have this ducktail spoiler which is extended from the rear window, and then once again you have those staggered O lights which are really giving it that retro look. I think it's very attractive, but let me know what you think down below. Just to give you a bit of context, this is a 5-minute drive. Of course, I'm never going to be able to tell everything about this vehicle in this 2-minute drive. However, I am going to get my first impressions. And of course, as always, I've done my research. Now, very important to a Nissan LEAF is a one-pedal drive. It's something that the previous generation cars have always been praised for. So is it still here? Well, we have a few different levels. You have the paddles on the steering wheel, like some other models. So you can turn the brake regeneration up or down. In its weakest sense, it's pretty much just like driving a normal petrol car. But if you turn it right up, then that regen is really very strong. And you have 3 different levels, but you also have an E pedal, and you've got a lovely button as well, right where you want it to be. So press that E pedal button, and then yeah, that's the one pedal drive that you want from a Nissan LEAF. And it really is very nice as well, because I don't know if you saw there, as I lifted off, there's not a kind of neck breaking slam of the brakes. It's just a really smooth increase of braking until you almost come to a stop. I do believe that if I kept it off for long enough, then maybe we'd come to a complete stop, but I haven't got time. I need to be driving this car. So let's talk about some other things about this. So we know that it's built in the UK, which is fantastic news, but also when it comes to all the lovely driving bits, that's all been developed in the UK as well for Europe, and that means that they have our rough, not particularly favourable roads in mind. And we have a test track here, which I believe that this car has possibly been round a few times to test how it drives in its development, and we have a few different road surfaces. So if I move across now to the rougher road surfaces, even when we're on broken tarmac, it just takes it in its stride, which of course, slow down for the, no problems at all. It feels really smooth, which is exactly what we need for a car which is going to be driven around the UK. And I have to say that driving this car, even for this short amount of time, the whole setup just feels very intuitive. Everything is exactly where I want it to be. We've got some lovely physical buttons on the steering wheel. You have your adaptive cruise control there, and then all of your functions on the right-hand side. As I mentioned, you've also got the paddles behind the steering wheel to adjust your regenerative braking. And you've also got just the lights and the indicators exactly where they should be. Nothing's really complicated when it comes to this car, and I think when it comes to previous Leaf owners wanting to move to this next generation, they're going to feel very much at home. Sure, they're going to notice the increase in that technology. The new screen is fantastic, super clear. We've got a head-up display on this top spec model, but it still just feels correct. Everything's where it should be. It doesn't feel unfamiliar, and I think that's going to be really appreciated. And then the steering is really well weighted. We've heard quite a few times from manufacturers which are outside of the UK that they've been developed for Europe, and then you drive them and I don't really know what Europe they were developing it for, because the steering is just way too light and the car's kind of fighting you as you drive. This just feels completely different. It's a very smooth driving experience. The steering is just very, very smooth, very well weighted. It's not heavy. At the end of the day, this is a car which is going to do a lot of town miles, so you still have that manoeuvrability of the steering wheel, but it's well weighted enough to still feel connected to the car. So despite the floor print being pretty similar to the outgoing Leaf, there is a ton more storage, including inside the boot. So inside here you have 437 litres, which is a really practical amount of space and should be more than enough for most families. You also have a nice wide opening, and it also has a really decent storage level area. As you'll see, it's just below my hip, so loading items in will be super simple. Now, it's not one of the lowest in class, so if you do have poor mobility, it might not be one of the best cars to go for, but I still think it's pretty good. Although I would have liked to have seen a little bit of protection just on this paint down here, just so that it didn't get scratched up, especially with this beautiful teal paintwork. You also have a boot which is split folding in two places, very similar to what we've seen on other Nissan products. This makes it super practical. You can kind of divide up the boot space so things don't rattle around inside of there. And there's even some storage low down for your charging cables. Now, the exterior is a big upgrade on the previous generation car, but inside I feel like this is where you see the biggest step up. It feels a lot better quality in my personal opinion. Especially in this higher spec model, you have these lovely leather effect seats, and it does feel very plush. Don't get me wrong, there are a little bit of plastic if you go looking for it, but this is a slightly more affordable model, so what do you expect? But all the touch points, like the steering wheel, on the armrests, on this central armrest here, everything is soft touch, which is really nice. It also just feels much more modern than the car that it replaces. You have this dual screen setup which comes all the way across here, and I love the fact that they've used that bar from the Aria, so you have these touch sensitive buttons that just sit in this kind of little piece of textured material, and it feels very special. Not always the easiest to use, I will give them that, but I think because you have those shortcut buttons, it's the best of both worlds. Of course, I would have liked physical dials, we all would, but I think it's a happy compromise, and at least not everything is buried inside of that touchscreen. And that same level of practicality continues into the rear. So in here you have plenty of space and lots of headroom. I also love this panoramic sunroof, which can be dimmed and then projects the Leaf just on the seats, which I think looks lovely. You've also got a pull down armrest where you'll see a couple of cup holders, which isn't always a given in this class, as well as plenty of storage inside of the doors. You have rear air vents and 2 USB-C chargers. So where does that leave the new Nissan LEAF? Well, for me, this feels like a proper, confident and well-judged return of a car, which has really helped to define the EV market in the first place. It's more efficient, goes further, more refined, it's more technologically advanced, and it's more practical than it's ever been before, while staying true to the LEAF's core values of accessibility and ease of use. Yes, the UK manufacturing story is important, and it's really great to see that continued investment in Sunderland, but ultimately the success of this car will come down to how it drives, how easy it is to live with, and whether it fits into people's real lives. And on those fronts, the new Nissan LEAF feels very well positioned indeed. Production is already underway, with first UK deliveries expected in spring 2026. And if you've enjoyed this review, then please make sure you do go ahead and give it a like. Let me know, what do you think of the new Nissan LEAF? I'm so glad that I've finally gotten to drive it. I know it's not under the best circumstances, and this has been a bit of a whistle-stop drive of this car whilst I'm here in Sunderland to really see this plant in action, but I've seriously enjoyed it, and I can feel the passion from Nissan when it comes to this car. Speaking to everyone in Sunderland, they truly are local people who have been given the opportunity of jobs and to keep this car alive, and I really think that passion has transpired into this model. But let me know what you think down below. Are you considering the new Nissan LEAF? Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, see you later.